Welcome everybody to the Saddle Up Show. We're officially back to Saddle Up with Shaad and Destin. It's been 3 weeks, Shaad. Shaad moved into a new house, so we've had to make some adjustments here and there. I've had to find different tag partners, but we got Shaad back. Everybody, Shaad, how's it been? How's the new house?
It's been pretty good so far, man. I mean, look, I'm about 3-4 days in. We already got a great new house guest. Our guest that's with us today. So this is my first guest that's been in my house technically, since I bought it. So I'm excited about that, man. I think this show's gonna be awesome, and I just want to thank you again for holding it down the past couple of weeks. You've been outstanding. I've told you this behind the scenes, but I thought it would only be right if I gave you credit and thanked you in front of the people as well.
Yeah, and Shaad hates doing that, so I bet that just hurt him so much.
Absolutely. It made me completely sick to my stomach just now.
But everybody watching now is probably sick of hearing me and Shaad talk already because they see who our guest is. Blake Freeland, offensive tackle, previously of BYU. We can officially say previously, and now an Indianapolis Colts fourth-round pick, Blake Freeland out of BYU. Blake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, guys.
So I just got to start out with saying, so like I'm usually the biggest guy in a room, right? So like I'm 6'5", pushing 300. Being on a StreamYard with you, knowing you're pushing 6'8", it makes me feel self-conscious. So let's start out with the just awful dad joke of how's the weather up there being 6'8".
Come on now. No, it's good. It's good.
Blake doesn't look like a traditional 6'8" guy. Not a 300-pounder. He don't look like a traditional 300-pounder when you look at him. Man's well put together.
Appreciate it.
So
Appreciate that.
that's always good to hear instead of saying you're not well put together, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no doubt.
so
He's like,
let's
yeah,
go.
you look 300 pounds, man.
I know,
Yeah, I
right?
know. That'd be a rough one. That'd be a rough one. Even if you're an offensive lineman, that just would hurt. But I want to go back to high school. So we're gonna start out old school, back to high school for you. Did I read it right? You were a quarterback for 2 years.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, I was a starting quarterback my sophomore and junior year of high school. Um, and then made a transition my senior year to tight end, defensive end.
Tight end, defensive end, fresh off of being the quarterback. I mean, what
Yes,
was
sir.
what was that transition like? Like,
It was completely different. It's a different game, going out and throwing the rock around a little bit to getting in the trenches. We ran the ball a lot, so I was kind of just a blocking tight end. It just made the transition to become an offensive lineman a little more smooth. Um, but yeah, it was a different game switching to in the trenches.
That's interesting. I really didn't know that up until today that you played quarterback. Destin actually the one who told me that. But when I was doing some digging, I saw that both of your parents was athletes at BYU. So take me back to that time. Did you always know it was going to be BYU, or did you consider other places when you was being recruited? What was that like for you?
Yeah, so growing up, I was always a BYU fan. Both my parents played there, like you were saying. Um, but as I got kind of went through the recruiting process, I got offered by BYU pretty early. Committed there just after my sophomore year. But I was talking to Utah, a few of the Pac-12 schools, but ended up getting offered by Utah, and they made it tough. Honestly, like I was getting recruited heavily by the two of them, and it kind of went back and forth in my head a little bit, but ended up choosing BYU, and I knew that was a spot that I needed to be, and I'm glad I went through with that decision.
so that whole situation. Have you both watched The Blind Side? I mean, it's not like it's a not popular movie here, but have you guys
Yeah.
watched The Blind Side? So
Michael
that
Orr?
reminds me,
Hmm.
yeah, that reminds me of the whole everybody go to Ole Miss, everybody go to Ole Miss in the family, and then Tennessee, evil Tennessee comes into the mix. So I could just see your family just looking at Utah like that evil Tennessee school to them the
Exactly.
entire.
They're like, I'm not gonna sway your decision, but like in the back of their head, they're like, no, if you go there, man, like we got problems.
The BYU apparel is staying up if you go to Utah just
Yeah.
because it
Yeah, no
changed.
doubt.
That's how it was for Landon Collins. Remember the safety? He was he's a Louisiana kid, and everybody just assumed he was going to go to LSU. So at the signing day, he pulled out the Alabama hat, and people literally lost their shit. Like it went crazy in there. I'll never forget that. Not the rival, not the rival.
Yeah, not the rival.
So just moving over to your college game a little bit, you did have a little bit of transition as well as you played right tackle your first 2 years at BYU, went over to left tackle. Talk to us a little bit about that transition, what went into going to the left side, and the positives and negatives that you kind of experienced through that.
So when I played right tackle, like you said, my first 2 years, and Brady Christensen, who's on the Panthers now, he was our left tackle, so he held it down pretty strong, and he's doing really well. But he was I kind of knew once he was leaving that was the position I wanted to take over. So once the offseason hit, I kind of started taking left tackle reps, just more and more worked on that every day. And it started feeling good. But once we hit spring ball, once we started going live, it was like, oh man, this is weird. Like it took me like a week and a half. Like my one-on-one reps weren't going like how they should have been. But a week and a half, 2 weeks in, it was like it felt smooth after that.
Yeah, like that. Most linemen you get a chance to talk to, they tell you how it just almost feels like a completely different world playing right tackle and left tackle. And it's weird when I see it because you would think tackle's responsibility is the same, but just that alignment is just totally different. And it looked like you navigated pretty well though. Watching your tape, from 1 year to the next, you seem pretty consistent in the product that you was putting out there. Question I wanted to ask you though: do you feel like being a former tight end, gives you an advantage over other linemen? I mean, it certainly pops out on your tape. Like you can see the athleticism that you have, the way you move. It's just different from most typical tackles out there. Do you think that has something to do with it?
Yeah, I think so. I think being able to kind of be a quick, fast, big guy helps a lot. You're playing against the freakiest dudes on the planet. Especially going into this next level, you got to be able to move with them. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, no one's going to be as fast as those guys, but if you can mix that size and speed together, you got your best chance.
So going to the Colts, I mean, there's just so many different athletes that they've prioritized adding on the offensive line, adding in other positions, guys who've played multiple positions. Even Jelani Woods, who's a former quarterback himself. You guys will have to talk that out and share that with each other. But you and Jake Witt, both tackles selected in this class together. I got to speak with him earlier today, and he even mentioned that during his pro day and everything, one of the tackles that he was trying to compare his numbers to through the process was you, because of how athletically gifted you were getting said through the process. So how does it kind of feel to be entering a room with similar type players like a Jake Witt?
It's awesome. I mean, I think the Colts really go for real athletic guys. Someone was telling me there's like a score that scores all the draft picks athletically, and we had some of the highest guys in each category. So I think that was really cool. Just to have a real fast team, real fast athletic team, and I'm thinking it's going to translate over to the field.
Yeah, how was rookie minicamp, by the way? Getting to know your teammates and finally being on the practice field, for actual team for the first time in months. Because I know the last time you practiced, you pretty much just been training for workouts and combines and different things like that. But how I feel to get back to practicing for an organization?
It was super awesome. I mean, going into it before, I was like, dude, it's been like 5-6 months since I put a helmet on, other than the
Crazy.
Senior Bowl. But that's probably the longest time I played. I haven't played ball in like 4 years, or probably like 8 years to be honest. But yeah, it was surreal. Like putting that Colts helmet on for the first time, it was awesome. It was real exciting. Kind of hit me once I stepped on the field, put my helmet on. I'm like, dude, I'm here for real. Like we're going.
Yeah.
It's go time.
Yes, sir.
So you brought up that some of these athletic build type systems that people are using. Have to shout out our guy Kent LaPlatte over there at the Relative Athletic Score and the RAS. This is one of the big numbers that popped up for you through your combine, through your pro day. So whenever I have some of you guys who are expecting to test well through this process, I always want to talk a little bit about if these numbers matched what you were wanting that expectation to be, and if there's any of these numbers that you're still looking at right now that irritate you a little bit.
Yeah, I was expecting to do well on some of these. My jumps were good. My jumps were where I wanted to be. Like vertical was way better. Broad was like I just want to hit 10. Like, let me just hit 10 feet. That would be super
and you
successful.
did it on the dot.
Yeah, I was pumped. I was like, shoot, let me get at least 10. But yeah, the 40, I was hoping low 4.9s, high 4.8s, but I mean, I'll take a 4.9, you know. And then the shuttles were towards the end of the day not as great as I wanted them to be, but again, you'll take what you get. I mean, went out there and competed, gave the best I had.
Yeah, man. I mean, at your size, your height and your size, cracking the sub 540 is just, that's just a masterpiece right there. So, good for you with that. Being 6'8", with that frame, you probably can put on more weight. Is that something that you're interested in, or do you feel like playing where you're listed at right now is better for you?
No, I think I could definitely put on more weight. Yeah, I think being able to put on some weight will help me a lot at this next level, and I think I could do it pretty easily. I mean, I'm young. I just turned 22, so like I still got a lot of room to grow and just gain size.
I remember being 22. It was a long time ago. I had no problem putting on weight, by the way.
Shaad was 22 in 1985, something like that. But so Blake, no need to get into detail, and I will always accept a no comment answer if that's what you'd prefer to roll with via this. But have you had any conversations with the Colts about where they kind of see you positional wise long term, whether that's right tackle, left tackle, whether that's the swing tackle type role early on?
I'm not really sure exactly where they see me. I played right tackle this mini camp, but coach said he planned on playing me at left, so I think I'll be able to be uh, playing both sides and just kind of fit in wherever they need me, wherever they see fit.
Yeah, man. I got one more question for you. I got one more question. It's kind of lighthearted. Since you're 6'8" and you did have a history at tight end, is there any chance we see you on the goal line checking as that 6 eligible offensive lineman, and we see you get a fade ball thrown your way, man?
Hey, I hope so. I hope so. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, man.
That's always
you seem
always
like
on
you'd
my
be
dream,
perfect for that. You'd be perfect for
Oh
that.
yeah.
So this is actually one of the topics that we brought up with your new teammate Jake Witt. So there's you who used to play tight end. We have Jake Witt who used to play tight end. We have Danny Pinter who used to play tight end at Ball State. And we have Bernard Ryman who played receiver when he was playing in Austria before he goes into college and moves to tackle. So we got to have some sort of package down there in the red zone where we just put all of you guys out there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, when I get Madden this next year, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. I'll record it. We'll send it out. Blake Freeland's catching a touchdown in the Destin Adams household. I promise.
Let's go. They might do me dirty with my rank, but should give me a good receiving.
They might let you throw it with your quarterback history that you have. Maybe you can throw one.
I'm saying, yeah. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Hey, we would be down for any trickery that they want to use there. This is another one that's not super in depth by any means. So your first NFL number has been officially assigned. Was there much thought process that went into that selection? Is that a number that has any sentimental value by any means?
The only thought process that went into it is we were trying our helmets on, and I saw 73 on the back of my helmet. That's about it. I didn't get any say. I don't really care too much, honestly, but I'm rolling with 73 and excited about it.
Was there any other sports you played in high school?
Yeah, I played basketball. I was a basketball player and track and field.
At 6'8", if you were not playing basketball, I'm sure the basketball coach at your high school would have been having fits.
Yeah, he'd be upset for sure.
Now the track aspect, I feel like we got to highlight that. Like you're an offensive lineman in the NFL. when you're in high school playing quarterback, performing in track, in Utah, correct?
Yeah.
I believe I read somewhere that you were actually the Gatorade Utah Boys Track Athlete of the Year in 2019.
Yeah, I was.
That's insane.
I had a good year my last year.
Yeah, I feel like that's got to be talked about.
Yeah, I had my senior year. I set a state record in the javelin and the shot put and then won the shot put, disc, and jab in first state. So it was a good year for me.
So is the thought process there at all that 2019 season that I'm going to be an NFL player? Like, is that even like in Blake Freeland's mind?
Yeah, that was my plan. That's always been my plan. Track was just a hobby, you know.
A hobby that you decided to be the 2019 state champion. Okay.
Now your sister's the track star, right?
Yeah. I'll let her do her thing.
Hey, you got to keep up the family name there. So one of the things from post draft that was really interesting was one of the questions you got asked in that first media availability was about if the Colts were a team you were expecting, and you were pretty honest that they weren't. They weren't a team that was on that list. That I believe you said your agent had like a short list of teams that like had expressed the most interest, and the Colts weren't on there. So just kind of to elaborate to people listening, like what kind of communication was there with the Colts through this draft process?
Yeah, so at the combine we had interviews, and there's formals and informals, and you'll have I had 3 formals, which is kind of just the teams requesting to meet with you, and it's with like the GM, the head coach, the OC, and then the position coach normally, and then a bunch of scouts. So it's like a room with like almost 15 people. And you got 15 minutes, and they're just like teaching you stuff, asking you questions, all this stuff. So I had one of those with the Colts, and it went really well. Like I was meeting with Coach Sperano, and he was just drawing up some of his things, and I thought it went really well. But that's kind of the extent of my communication with them from what I understand with my agent. I think most of the communication with teams was through my agent. I didn't really talk to too many teams outside of those meetings. But I don't think there's too much after that.
How is Coach Sperano now that you kind of got to deal with him a little bit in the rookie mini camp world? But how do you kind of compare him to other offensive line coaches you've worked with?
Oh, he's awesome. He's so funny. Like he's a crack up in meetings. But he's really good. Like so technically sound. We go through. I mean, after our days of camp, we'd go through technique. We'd watch individual drills, like just little footwork things, little handwork things, and just something I think is really important, especially to continue to develop as a great football player.
Yeah, from what I've seen, with the way you move, like I spoke about earlier, I think a zone scheme would be really good for you. Anything that allows you to move and use your athleticism was really good. So when I saw the Senior Bowl listing, you were one of the people I looked at, and I watched. I wanted to see your one-on-one reps, just see how you deal with the guys that was out there, and I thought you were really good. I thought your technique with your hand placement was really well, and you looked real polished. Can you talk to me about like what went into getting ready for the Senior Bowl and that level of competition against the guys that you went against? How was that experience for you as a whole?
It was good. I worked closely with Paul Alexander, who's a longtime Bengals coach, works with a lot of guys in the league now, and Joe Staley. So two legends. Like both of those guys are probably Hall of Famers. But it was great working with the two of them. They teach a little bit different things, technically wise, but I was able to pick up a lot from both of them and kind of just try to incorporate it into my game. But at the end of the day, they're like, just go out there and play. Like, you know what you're doing. Just be confident in yourself. And I think after first day of camp, I kind of realized I'm like, I need to settle in. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, let's just do what I've been doing,
How is it kind of knowing that there's a few marquee offensive linemen here already in place when Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Braden Smith, Bernard Ryman as well this past year had a really solid rookie season, of course. But like, how does it feel to know you have those notable names that you've probably watched a little bit over the past few years?
It's awesome. I've met a couple of them already, but I'm excited to meet the whole room and kind of see where I fit in. But excited to go and compete with those guys and learn as much as I can because, a lot of those guys have a lot of years in the league, and I'm ready to – I know they have a lot to share, a lot to help me. So I'm just going to go in and learn as much as I can from those guys.
Yeah, man, I like the fact that you're versatile. And the more you know, the more you can play, the quicker you get on the field. I think that's going to be a big benefit for you to be able to play right and left tackle and have an experience with both.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things when you're 6'8", most times you're going to get that as a positive thing. When you're 6'8" as an offensive lineman, especially playing in pass pro, there's a lot of leverage things that can kind of get in the way at times, being that high up. So how do you combat that personally, with that size and having to move that way laterally?
Yeah, so there's a pros and cons, things that'll help you, things that'll kind of get you caught. But just being able to use your hands really well, I think hand leverage is super important. You're not always going to get your hat underneath them, but you don't really need to. You need to get those hands underneath, and that's something that'll save you a lot. So just working with really good balance and hand placement, I think, is the key for me.
Yeah, as
Patrick
long as you
Rye
can.
here said it's bad to be 6'8" if you're on a submarine.
Yeah, no doubt. That's how I felt on my plane ride home from Indianapolis last week. I was in one of those little Southwest airplanes,
Oh man,
yeah.
they tough for me,
Two
and I'm
seats on one of
6'1".
the other.
They tough for
See,
me, and I'm 6'1", let
I was
alone
saying
6'8".
I was saying I'm 6'5", and I still just volunteer for the emergency row, get the extra leg
Yeah,
room out there. You always just got to raise your hand. Sometimes they'll look you up and down. You'll get those moments. They'll just look you up and down and say, "Do
yeah,
you
that's
want to
always
be on the
nice.
emergency row?"
It's always a blessing.
So right now you're home in Utah, as you guys
Mhm.
have to be away from the facility for a little bit after rookie mini camp. You guys are going to get integrated with the veterans Monday, is it, when you're back in Indianapolis?
Yes, sir. I think so.
So one last thing, really, just to kind of speak directly to the Colts fans watching. Maybe some of the Colts brass see that Blake Freeland has an interview and they want to check it out. But what is Colts Nation, and what are the Colts getting in Blake Freeland as your career gets started next Monday?
Shoot, you're gonna get someone that's gonna go out and compete every day. Just find a spot, whether it's playing right away, whether it's a swing tackle, whether it's a starting tackle. You're just gonna get someone that's gonna go out and make the team better. That's my plan. Go out and make the Indianapolis Colts a better team.
And day one will be the best shot putter on the Indianapolis Colts. I'm willing
And
to put
javelin
my money
thrower.
on it right now.
And javelin thrower, by the way.
Yeah, so
If we ever have any track and field events, just
javelin
let us
shot
know.
puts, you're not safe at West 56th Street. That's all I'm telling you.
And a team
Yeah.
basketball game, he should get buckets too. He should get buckets.
Oh yeah.
We got a question here for Patrick, and then we're going to let Blake get on with enjoying the rest of his week off before he's got to get back to Indianapolis. I believe this is talking more towards the being on the low end of the 300 realm. Don't know if this has been covered yet already, but how to nutrition, weights,
Calisthenics. I got you.
calisthenics and skill set differ when you change positions.
Okay, we got a reader.
Yeah, he's a reader right here. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of you think this is just for college, or do you think this is going into like from high school to college?
I think he's probably just wondering in general, just by making the adjustment to offensive line and just kind of covering like your thought process on it overall. And if that's not what he means, though, that's how I took it. So
Yeah, well, I mean, my dad kind of pushed me growing up, knowing that I was gonna fill into my 6'7", 6'8" frame. So I was just always eating, trying to gain that weight. Even when I was in high school, like I was like 200 pounds as a sophomore, and I was still eating as much as I could and couldn't put the weight on. But it started to gain as I got older. But just try to eat as much as I can. I think as I started being able to put that weight on a little easier, I was able to kind of clean up my eating, and kind of in this last year of prep for this moment, I've been able to clean up my eating and just do a little more to try to be like a pro, just take in, just do different types of workouts, not as much, or I guess I'm trying to think of exactly what I'm trying to say. But yeah, just I don't know. As you get older, things just start to evolve, and I think I still have a lot more to go as a professional, kind of learning how my body works and what I need. But yeah, still trying to grow in that aspect.
steaks and potatoes, Patrick. Steaks and potatoes. That's all. That's all this guy's probably eating.
Yeah.
You're
A whole
gonna
lot
go
of
broke
late
quick.
night protein shakes.
Right, there you
For
go.
real.
Protein shakes is the way to go. You're gonna go broke eating them
Yeah.
steak and potatoes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, in Indy, there's some spots though. There's some spots for steaks and potatoes. I'll tell you.
Destin can show
Hey,
you show
you
you a
gotta let
couple
me know.
places.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll hit you up with all the spots. Let me know. We'll talk off camera where you're going to be squatting up down here, and I'll give you all the
Mm-hmm.
spots.
Yeah, for sure. I need those.
Thank you, man. We appreciate you for coming on, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you guys for having me.
This has been Blake Freeland, newest offensive tackle of the Indianapolis Colts. Make sure you guys are giving him a follow on Twitter. I saw he only had like 2,000 some followers on Twitter right now, people. You guys need to flood that. Go in there, make this guy feel loved. Welcome to Indianapolis. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for the Horseshoe Huddle channel. Make sure you guys are giving us a like on this video. And make sure you guys are checking out horseshoehuddle.com, the official Sports Illustrated affiliate for the Colts and Fan Nation. Thanks again to Blake Freeland. Welcome to Indianapolis. And as always, go Colts.